Alan Dulles, a figure most enigmatic and as slippery as one of those serpents found in the darker corners of the espionage world, commanded the CIA with a cold elegance that would make even the most daring secret agent blink. A true maestro of the shadows, Dulles was a man who knew the twists and turns of the Cold War as intimately as the inner workings of a Walther PPK. Under his watchful eye, the CIA danced with the Soviets in a lethal ballet of intrigue and deceit. This was a time when gentlemen spies still operated by a code, however murky, and Dulles was a virtuoso conductor of this orchestra of chaos. Men like him are as rare as a perfect martini at a backstreet dive, and we cannot help but imagine what secrets were buried with him. In today's video, we'll unlock the secrets of this legendary figure, discussing his psychology, most harrowing exploits, and much more as we describe the life of Alan Dulles, the Nazi-loving founder of the CIA. Alan Welsh Dulles, born on April 7, 1893 in Watertown, New York, was destined to become a man of intrigue, mystery and power. The son of a Presbyterian minister, he was raised in a household that prized education and moral fortitude. His journey through Princeton University, graduating in 1914, was an adventure marked by academic excellence as befitting a future spy master. Entering the diplomatic service in 1916, he was first posted in Vienna, where the lingering scent of the Habsburg Empire still hung heavily in the air. It was here, in the shadowed corners of grand decaying palaces, that the young Dulles first tasted the intoxicating world of international diplomacy. From Vienna, he was whisked to Bern, Switzerland, serving as a diplomat during the First World War. The neutral grounds of Switzerland, rife with espionage and backdoor dealings, served as the perfect training ground for a man who would later walk the knife's edge of Cold War politics. Dulles continued his ascension through the State Department, his eyes sharply trained on the shifting sands of international relations. By the time he was appointed to the Berlin embassy in 1922, his reputation as a skilled negotiator was well established. As the ominous clouds of World War II gathered, Alan Dulles found himself drawn into a web of secrecy, espionage and power plays that would shape the very fabric of the conflict. Stationed in Bern, Switzerland from 1942 to 1945, he took on the role of station chief for the Office of Strategic Services, or the OSS, a position that placed him at the crossroads of intelligence and diplomacy. Switzerland's neutral status served as a cloak for Dulles, enabling him to engage in covert operations that were as intricate and perilous as the inner workings of a finely crafted timepiece. It was a stage set for shadowy encounters, clandestine meetings, and carefully constructed alliances with key players on all sides of the conflict, including, as whispers would later suggest, the most enigmatic chapter of Dulles's wartime career. This murky era revolves around his interactions with key Nazi officials, including the likes of SS Obergruppenführer Karl Wolff. Wolff, who had been Heinrich Himmler's chief of personal staff, became a pivotal figure in Operation Sunrise, negotiations that led to a ceasefire in northern Italy. Thus, his intrigue and negotiations were not merely limited to wartime strategy, but extended into the nebulous world of moral ambiguity. As the war drew to a close, Dulles's role took an even darker turn. He became connected to what would be known as rat lines, escape routes for Nazis seeking refuge in the post-war world. Among those whose flight was allegedly facilitated by Dulles were notorious figures such as Franz Stangl, the commander of Treblinka extermination camp, and Adolf Eichmann, one of the principal architects of the Holocaust. The exact nature of Dulles's involvement in these escapades remains shrouded in mystery, veiled behind a curtain of official secrecy and political maneuvering. In the wake of World War II, the chessboard of global politics had been reset, and Alan Dulles found himself called upon to craft a new breed of intelligence agency for a rapidly changing world. The Central Intelligence Agency, commonly known as the CIA, or simply the Agency, was born with Dulles taking the helm as its first civilian director in 1953, a position he would hold until 1961. Dulles's time at the CIA was characterized by a labyrinthine web of Cold War intrigue. He orchestrated covert operations and intelligence campaigns that spanned the globe, reaching into the very heart of the Soviet Union. His hand was evident in the orchestration of coup in Iran in 1953 and Guatemala in 1954, maneuvering with the skill and subtlety of a master tactician. Under his stewardship, the CIA transformed into a formidable intelligence arm, wielding influence and power in the shadowed corners of international politics. Dulles was a man both admired and feared, wielding the CIA's power with a blend of intellectual rigor and cold realpolitik. But his reign was not without controversy. The failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, an ill-conceived attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro, left a stain on his legacy. The fallout was swift, and Dulles was forced to resign, his once unassailable position brought low by the shifting tides of political fortune. After stepping down from the CIA, Dulles remained a figure of influence, serving on the Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. He continued to walk the corridors of power, his mind ever attuned to the subtle nuances of global politics. Alan Dulles passed away on January 29, 1969, but his shadow continues to loom large over the world of espionage and intelligence. His life, marked by intrigue, power, and moral complexity, remains as a memory of history, a time when the lines between friend and foe were ever shifting, and the stakes were nothing less than the balance of global power.